Welcome to the fascinating world of ancient genetics. What if I told you that some of us are more Neanderthal than modern human? According to Princeton University geneticist Joshua Aki, regions in our DNA carry more Neanderthal ancestry than we ever imagined. This is particularly true for people of European descent, where scientists have found about 10 spots in the human genome packed with beneficial Neanderthal genes. Surprisingly, many of these genes influence things like our hair, skin, and even eye color. One such gene is BNC2, a powerful influencer of skin pigmentation that helped early humans adapt to colder, sunless climates. But that's not all. Neanderthal DNA is also linked to the genes that determine hair texture. These ancient sequences gave our ancestors distinct advantages, allowing them to thrive in new and challenging environments. The truth is, these genes weren't just random leftovers from some prehistoric fling. They were essential. Our ancestors needed them to survive in a colder, more rugged environment. Without these Neanderthal traits, our species might have struggled to adapt as quickly as it did. So, when we think of Neanderthals as merely our ancient cousins, the reality is that they were a lot more than that. They were, in many ways, survival guides, giving us the genetic tools to face the harsh European winters. And as we dig deeper, we're just scratching the surface of what their legacy means for us today. It all started in 1857, in a hidden cave in Germany's Neander Valley. A group of workers stumbled upon something extraordinary: fossilized bones, buried deep within the rock and mud. Little did they know, these bones would spark a scientific revolution that would change our understanding of human evolution forever. At first, the fossil find baffled scientists. The bones were similar to modern humans, but also strikingly different. Larger brow ridges, a strange, elongated skull. Could this really be a human ancestor? Fast forward to 1863, and the question still lingered, until William King, a geologist from Ireland, stepped forward with a bold claim. King argued that these bones didn't belong to modern humans at all, but to an entirely new species, Homo neanderthalensis. His announcement shook the scientific community. For the first time, scientists had to grapple with the idea that humans weren't alone in the story of evolution. We had competition, a species similar to us but not quite like us. And as King examined the skull, he noted its similarities to apes. To him, the Neanderthals weren't just primitive, they were different in ways that made them less than fully human. Yet, despite this belief, the discovery marked a pivotal moment. From then on, we began to see human evolution as a branching tree, with Neanderthals representing an ancient line that diverged from our own. What made Neanderthals so unique? Their bodies tell the story. These ancient humans weren't built like us. They were shorter, stockier, and much stronger. Picture this: wide hips, broad shoulders, and thick, muscular arms. Every inch of their body was designed for one thing: surviving the cold. Unlike modern humans, Neanderthals evolved to live in the glacial climates of Western Eurasia, facing freezing temperatures that would make most of us shiver just thinking about it. But why were they so different from us? It turns out that cold climates shape bodies in very specific ways. Ever heard of Bergmann's rule? It's a biological principle that says animals living in colder regions tend to have bulkier bodies to retain heat. Neanderthals were no exception. Their compact, muscular form was perfect for conserving body warmth, and it gave them the upper hand in their harsh environment. Another rule, Allen's rule, explains why Neanderthals had shorter limbs relative to their bodies. Short arms and legs lose less heat than longer ones. Again, it's all about survival. But it wasn't just their bodies that helped them. Their strength made them expert hunters. In Europe's dense forests, Neanderthals were likely ambush predators, using their powerful legs to charge prey at close range. Unlike Homo sapiens, who relied on endurance running, Neanderthals used short bursts of speed and brute force to catch their meals. They were masters of survival, perfectly adapted to the world they lived in. Around 42,000 years ago, the Earth experienced a disaster so massive, it's hard to fathom today. This event, known as the geomagnetic reversal, changed everything. For a brief but terrifying period, the Earth's magnetic poles flipped, causing chaos on a global scale. Imagine it. The magnetic field that shields us from harmful solar radiation dropped to almost zero. The skies would have been lit up with intense auroras, not just at the poles, but across the planet. It must have been a sight to behold, stunning, but also terrifying for the Neanderthals and other creatures of the time. But the light shows were only the beginning. Without the protection of a stable magnetic field, cosmic rays bombarded the Earth, stripping away the ozone layer. This left the planet exposed to dangerous levels of ultraviolet radiation, triggering shifts in climate that Neanderthals simply weren't prepared for. Glaciers expanded, weather patterns changed, and hunting, already tough, became nearly impossible. This period of apocalyptic conditions would have tested the limits of Neanderthal survival. It's no wonder that Neanderthals, who had adapted so well to a cold but stable environment, struggled to cope. The combination of climate change and competition from modern humans may have been the final blow to their species. Yet, even as their numbers dwindled, they left a lasting mark, not just in the fossil record, but in our very DNA. Their legacy continues, woven into the genetic fabric of the humans who inherited their world. Today, we think of Neanderthals as ancient, brutish cousins. But the truth is far more complex. These early humans were more than simple cave dwellers. They had culture, they buried their dead, and they passed down knowledge from one generation to the next. And while they ultimately disappeared, their influence didn't vanish with them. As modern humans migrated into Neanderthal territory, the two species met, mingled, and interbred. The result? Neanderthal genes live on in us, shaping everything from our skin color to our immune system. It's incredible to think that even today, we carry pieces of Neanderthal biology inside us. Scientists are discovering more and more ways these ancient genes helped our ancestors adapt to new environments. For example, some Neanderthal genes are linked to immune responses that protect us from infections. Others influence how our bodies respond to sunlight, an essential trait for early humans moving into Europe's less sunny climates. But perhaps the most fascinating part of the Neanderthal legacy is how it challenges our understanding of what it means to be human. We once thought of Neanderthals as a separate, inferior species. Now, we know that they were more like us than we ever realized. In fact, they were part of us. Our story, as modern humans, is also their story, a shared history written in our bones and DNA. So, the next time you think of Neanderthals, remember, they aren't just an ancient chapter in human history. They are still with us, shaping the future as they shaped the past. You might not realize it, but those ancient Neanderthal genes still have a lot to say about how your body works today. While many of the genes we inherited helped our ancestors adapt to new environments, not all of them are positive in the modern world. In fact, some of the Neanderthal DNA we carry may even influence our health in surprising ways. For example, researchers have discovered that certain Neanderthal genes are linked to conditions like allergies and autoimmune disorders. It turns out that these genes helped early humans fend off infections by making their immune systems more aggressive. While that was a great advantage in a world full of predators and pathogens, it can backfire in modern times. Today, that same overactive immune response can lead to issues like asthma, hay fever, and food allergies, conditions that didn't exist in quite the same way when our ancestors were roaming the Ice Age plains. But it's not all bad news. Some Neanderthal genes might actually help protect us from modern diseases. Studies have shown that people with Neanderthal ancestry have a lower risk of certain types of infections thanks to genes that boost their immune systems. In particular, some Neanderthal variants appear to protect against viruses like the flu and hepatitis. These genes may have helped early humans survive the spread of new diseases as they moved into unfamiliar territories, and they continue to offer benefits even in today's world. So while our ancient cousins are long gone, their genetic legacy still shapes us in ways we're only just beginning to understand. From allergies to disease resistance, Neanderthal DNA remains an important piece of the puzzle in modern human health. Let's talk about the moment when modern humans and Neanderthals first crossed paths. It wasn't just a meeting of minds, it was also a meeting of hearts, so to speak. As Homo sapiens migrated out of Africa and into Europe and Asia, they encountered Neanderthals who had been living in these regions for hundreds of thousands of years. And while the two species were different in many ways, They weren't too different to fall in love, or at least to mate. Scientists used to believe that Neanderthals and modern humans rarely interbred, but recent genetic evidence paints a very different picture. In fact, it turns out that early humans didn't just share the land with Neanderthals, they shared a lot of DNA too. Genetic studies reveal that between 1 to 4% of the DNA in modern non-African populations comes from Neanderthals. That means if you're of European or Asian descent, you probably have some Neanderthal DNA coursing through your veins right now. But how did these interbreeding events happen? While we can't know for sure, it's likely that small bands of early humans and Neanderthals lived near each other, occasionally interacting, maybe trading tools, hunting together, or sharing resources. Over time, these encounters led to interbreeding, blending the two species. In fact, some scientists believe that this mixing of genes was critical to the survival of Homo sapiens, giving us the Neanderthal traits we needed to thrive in colder, harsher environments. This story of ancient interbreeding is more than just a footnote in human history. It's a reminder that our ancestors weren't isolated from other species. They were part of a complex web of human evolution, where love, survival, and adaptability all played a role in shaping who we are today. So, what happened to the Neanderthals? For tens of thousands of years, they were the dominant human species in Europe and parts of Asia, perfectly adapted to their environment. Yet, around 40,000 years ago, they vanished. Scientists have debated for decades over what led to their extinction, and while we don't have all the answers, several theories have emerged. One possibility is climate change. As the Earth's climate shifted, food sources may have become scarce, making it harder for Neanderthals to survive. Their strong, stocky bodies, which were ideal for hunting in cold environments, may have been less suited to the more varied and unpredictable conditions that followed the Ice Age. Meanwhile, modern humans, with our leaner builds and greater ability to adapt, may have been better equipped to cope with the changing landscape. Another theory is competition with Homo sapiens. As modern humans migrated into Neanderthal territory, we likely competed for the same resources: food, shelter, and tools. While Neanderthals were skilled hunters, Homo sapiens had more advanced tools and social structures that gave us an edge. Our ability to work together, communicate, and share knowledge may have allowed us to outcompete Neanderthals in the struggle for survival. Finally, interbreeding itself may have played a role. As modern humans and Neanderthals mixed, their populations may have gradually merged. Over time, the distinct Neanderthal traits may have been diluted as their genetic legacy blended with ours. In the end, Neanderthals didn't so much go extinct as they were absorbed into the larger population of modern humans, leaving behind traces of their DNA that still shape us today. While we may never know exactly why Neanderthals disappeared, one thing is certain: their story isn't just a tale of extinction, it's a tale of survival, adaptation, and the enduring connection between species. As we continue to unlock the secrets of Neanderthal genetics, one question remains: what's next? With every new discovery, we get a clearer picture of how Neanderthals lived, how they interacted with early humans, and how their legacy continues to influence us. But there's still so much we don't know. One of the most exciting areas of research is in the field of ancient DNA. As scientists develop better techniques for extracting and analyzing DNA from fossilized remains, we're likely to uncover even more clues about the Neanderthals' way of life. For example, future studies could reveal more about their diet, their social structures, and even their mental abilities. Were Neanderthals capable of symbolic thought, like Homo sapiens? Did they create art or practice rituals? These are the kinds of questions that scientists are eager to explore. Additionally, advancements in CRISPR and gene editing technology have sparked debates about whether we could one day bring back Neanderthals. While that might sound like science fiction, some researchers believe that it could be possible to use Neanderthal DNA to resurrect traits, or even entire species, through genetic engineering. This raises ethical questions about the role of humans in directing evolution and whether we should interfere with nature in this way. For now, though, the focus remains on understanding how Neanderthal genes continue to shape modern humans. As we learn more, we may even discover ways to use this ancient DNA to improve our health and fight diseases. The legacy of the Neanderthals is far from over. It's still being written, and it will continue to evolve as we delve deeper into the mysteries of our shared past. In the end, the story of the Neanderthals is not just one of extinction, it's a story of connection. Far from being the brutish, primitive creatures they were once thought to be, Neanderthals were intelligent, adaptable, and resourceful. They thrived in some of the harshest environments on Earth and left an indelible mark on our species. Today, as we look back on the legacy of the Neanderthals, we're reminded that human evolution is not a straight line. It's a branching, twisting path, full of unexpected turns and encounters. Neanderthals are a part of that story, not as a separate species, but as ancestors who contributed to the rich tapestry of human history. Their genes live on in us, influencing everything from our physical traits to our immune systems. And their legacy challenges us to rethink what it means to be human. We are not the sole survivors of a long evolutionary journey, we are the product of a shared history, one that includes Neanderthals and other ancient humans. So, the next time you look in the mirror, remember, you carry the legacy of the Neanderthals within you. They are a part of who we are, and their story is still unfolding, shaping not only our past but our future as well.